So I applied because I'd been a recorder since 2009 and I had been enjoying myself in private practice. I'd been, I hope, modestly relatively successful, but I thought that I needed a change, and the endless, very, very late nights going around the country at a drop of a hat and things like that was wearing on me a little, especially in terms of my family life. And I decided that perhaps to make my life a bit more regular and a bit more accessible in respect to my family and so on and so forth, I decided to apply. And I applied after being a recorder, I think, for about 4 or 5 years, and then made the application on the website.
After 20 years at the bar, I decided I wanted a new challenge. I wanted something that was predictable because I had young children, but I wanted it to be as stimulating and as exciting as it had always been in the courtroom. So really making an application for a job as a judge was an obvious choice for me. I loved sitting as a recorder. I found it exciting, varied, and so that's what I did. And I've never regretted the decision.
Well, my role is as a family judge, and I think the key aspect of the job for me is that I make decisions. I make huge decisions about other people's lives. And so the attraction of the job that I do is that I bear that responsibility. At the end of a case, I will give a judgment that is my judgment, and also I'll make an order. And at the bottom of the order, there is my name. Nobody else is responsible for it. So I think that's the main attraction for it. It also involves a progression from the life that I had as a lawyer. As a lawyer, you advance your clients' cases and argue them in court. As a judge, you're applying every ounce of wisdom and understanding of life and of the law on a daily basis.
It is absolutely not necessary to have a criminal background in order to become a recorder or a judge. As a civil practitioner, you'll be well versed in all of the skills necessary to discharge your functions as a criminal judge, and the training offered by the Judicial College is phenomenally good. I would encourage any civil practitioner who is prepared to undertake the burdens of becoming a civil judge to do so, and to become, if I may say so, dual ticketed, to do both civil and crime, to give you a variety, and also to be extremely useful when it comes to the issue of deployment of judicial resources. You won't regret it.
Well, it's sometimes thought that barristers are much more suitable to be circuit judges than solicitors, but having gone from the background of being a solicitor and a tribunal judge, I'm not sure that's an accurate perception. In a sense, the last thing a criminal circuit judge is an advocate, and what you don't want is the judge demonstrating their supposedly superior cross-examination skills for the benefit of the jury and the representatives, because the skills that you need to bring to being a circuit judge, in my view, are about an understanding of people, an understanding of laws, words, emotional and intellectual intelligence, and handling a courtroom, and those are not skills specific and exclusive to the bar. Solicitors, with their wider experience of dealing with people, may well have the edge. There are other areas, such as rules of evidence, where a solicitor might need to work a little bit harder to get up to speed, but I really don't think that there's an innate superiority or advantage by having been a barrister or a solicitor when it comes to accessing the circuit bench.
2 reasons that I applied to become a judge. The first is that I thought the work would be interesting and stimulating, and I was right about that. Most of my time is spent trying criminal cases, but I'm also involved in teaching for the Judicial College. I'm able to be involved in a number of outreach projects, and I'm also a mentor judge. So there's never a dull moment. The second reason was that I wanted to be the person in court that made the decisions. I'd spent 23 years at the bar arguing for one side or another, and it's quite different being a judge. You're impartial, you listen to the arguments, but ultimately you decide what it is that is going to apply in the case.
Becoming a circuit judge is a position of great responsibility, and it carries with it huge job satisfaction. I was at the bar, had been at the bar for many years before I became a senior circuit judge, so I went from being a practitioner onto the bench. And so I would encourage anyone to think very carefully about applying, whether from practice or from other backgrounds, to become a circuit judge. The enjoyment, the intellectual enjoyment, and indeed the challenge is to be fair and also to make sure you're conducting the proceedings in the public interest. It's a job that does give great satisfaction, huge intellectual rewards, and I would very much encourage all those who are interested in making an application to become a circuit judge.